good morning. And myself, Bhaskar. Today we are going to discussing about software testing. What are the software testings we are going to do? And just I am giving the just introduction. What are the topics we are going to be discussing? What is meant by a software testing? Software testing, it is nothing but it is in the CID they are doing the investigation, right? Here also we are doing such type of investigation. For what purpose we are doing the investigation means already the developer has been developed one of the software application. That's what we are going to be investigating. We are investigating the application, how the application is going to be working fine or not, and whether the application is built properly or not, and easily it can be understood by the end users or not. Those are we are going to be discussing in this session. Means mostly our focus is software testing. It is nothing but it is the one of the scope to ensure that application it is working fine or not, and also we will check the functionality of an application. How we are checking the functionality of an application means by the way of finding the defects, and also in that application only we are checking the behavior of an application. The way of we are checking the behavior of an application, whether the application is going to be behaving properly or not. The testing it is categorized into two types. One is manual testing, and another one is automation testing. If you want to do the software testing, mandatorily we need to know that both manual testing also and as well as automation testing also. Right now we are using the for doing the automation testing, we are doing with the help of an tools only we are doing. Thus we are doing the automation. What is the tool here means? Ceiling. Let me give one real time example. Right now we are washing our clothes, right? If we are washing our clothes with our hands without using any tools or nothing, that is nothing but a manual. Our same clothes only if you are washing with the help of a washing machine. If you want to run that washing machine, mandatorily we need to be require motors and also machines. Right here, that is nothing but a tool we are going to be using. That is nothing but a automation. Or else, if you want to take more examples, right now, if you want to operate in the TV, right? Previously, if you want to change the channel, just we are going to the behind of the TV and we are pressing the buttons. That is nothing but a manual. Means manual means with the help of an only human interaction. If you are doing means manual testing. For changing the channels only, just right now we are using the TV remote, right? TV remote, it is nothing but a tool. That is nothing but a automation testing. So let me tell you the small definition. What is meant by the manual testing means? Manual testing it will be done by the only by the humans, and the automation testing it will be done by with the help of an machine interaction. We need to be take the machine interaction. Means to interact with the machine, mandatorily we need to be required tools. For doing the manual testing, there is no need to be use any tools. Okay, that is the definition. Without testing the functionality of an application, without using any tools, is known as manual testing. With the help of an tools, if you are testing, if you are taking the help with the help of an tools, if you are testing an application, means that is known as automation testing. Sir, here we have only one tool. No, sir, we have the n number of the tools. QC and ALM and Tosca and UiPath. Those are also we have the n number of the tools. In manual testing, you don't want to use the any tools. If you want to know the automation also, for the everything else also, manual testing it is the fundamentals. For the basics, you need to know that. Now come to the manual testing. What are the concepts we are going to be learning? SDLC. Every human also have here one of the life cycle, right? Frog or anything. Human or if you want to make a bike also you have one of the life cycles. Or computers also have one of the life cycles. Right? Here also how the software application is going to be developing. Right? Then also we are going to be discussing SDLC, software development life cycle. Before that, I want to give that introduction about the terminologies. Terminologies of software testing means for specific candidates we are calling with one name, right? some person who is writing the source code, that person we are calling as a developer, and who is going to be testing, that person we are calling as a test engineer. And in the testing engineer section, what we are going to be finding, those all we can discuss. And who is making the design, those all we can be discussing in the first class. That is nothing but a terminologies of software testing. Then we are going to be discussing about SDLC, means life cycles. And once after completing here we have the different life cycles, right? Human life cycle and butterfly life cycle, and also elephant life cycle. Like that, we have the different life cycles. Here also we have the different types of the SDLC model. To develop that software application also we have the different types of life cycles. Types of the SDLC. In this SDLC we have the different types of models. Okay. First one we are going to be discussing about waterfall model. At what time we are going to the waterfall model, and also next we are going to be discussing about spiral model. For the spiral model we are calling it the another name as also iterative model or Zilebi model also sometimes called. Mostly in the ancient days we are calling it as a Zilebi model, but right now we are calling it as a spiral model or iterative and prototype. And next one we are going to be discussing about the prototype model. And next one we are going to be discussing about the V and V model. Next one we are going to be discussing about Agile model. Mostly Agile we don't want to call it as a Agile model. Instead of the Agile model we are calling as a Agile methodology. Why? Because in Agile only we have the n number of the models: Scrum and Extreme Programming and Kanban process and Agile modeling. Those are also we have in the Agile methodology only. And derived model. And next one, hybrid model. These are all the models in the SDLC. Once completing this, all the models, mostly in the Agile model, we are going to be discussing in the middle of the session of our classes. Means once completing the SDLC models, then we are going to be discussing about what is the difference between the static testing and a dynamic testing. Static and dynamic testing. Next one, we are going to be discussing about QA and QC. For this one only we are calling it the another name as verification. Difference between the verification and validation. Verification and validation. Once completing this one, we are going to be discussing about the SDLC. In SDLC only we have the one of the life cycle called as testing. How the testing units are going to be tested. Those are also we are going to be discussing it here. Means suppose before telling the SDLC, I am going to be explaining it in the scenarios. If you want to test the application, mandatorily we need to write the scenarios for that application, how we are going to be testing, and what are the possible ways to test an application. Those all also we are able to write in the way of scenarios. In the scenarios also we have the types, positive scenarios and negative scenarios also. So why we are writing the scenarios? For finding the defects purpose only. Means, sir, whatever the scenarios we are writing, those only we are converting into the test cases. Once completing the scenarios, then here we are going to be discussing about the test cases. Test cases also we are going to be discussing. And after completing scenarios and test cases only, and here only we are going to be discussing about our real-time project. You don't want to discuss about the end of the time. In the middle of our class only we are discussing about our real-time project. This project, you directly can add in your resume. This will be very benefit for your interviews also. If you are going as an experienced or if you are going as a fresher, this will be benefit for you. And once completing, then we are going to be discussing about defect life cycle or bug life cycle. Okay. And here only we have the different status we have. While the testing units are raising the defect to the developer, at that time the developer will be accept the defect or not. Those are also we are going to be discussing it here. defect resolutions. Defect resolutions means in the defect resolutions we have the different types: invalid or rejected, cannot reproduce, and it cannot fixed, and duplicate, and a request for enhancement. Those are also we are going to be discussing in this session. And after completing here, next one we are going to discussing about the here onwards our real time testing will be involved. Types of testing. Okay, types of testing. In the types of testing only we have the black box and white box and gray box. Here only we are going to be doing introduction. And here next one, types of black box testing. Here we have the two types. One is functional testing and another one is non-functional testing. Types of the black box testing, it is divided into two types. One is functional and another one is non-functional testing. Once completing the functional testing, then only we are going to be discussing about the non-functional testing. If the interviewer is asking levels of testing also, we can be tell the functional testing only. Just introduction and what are the concepts we are going to be discussing. That's it. And while coming up to the classes, at that time we will go in depth. That's it. Thank you.